New watch. Let's use the Timegrapher to see how it's running. I've been wearing my new Phoibos Voyager GMT for the last 54 days. Got to tell you, I've been enjoying the watch. When I unboxed this watch 54 days ago, I gave it a wind and I set it. I did not place it on the Timegrapher because I just wanted to let it settle in. Let's see how it's doing. Now, the reason I'm doing this video today is because today is daylight savings time, or rather we're coming off of daylight savings, and I need to reset the watch. I don't sleep in it. I put it on the dresser in basically this position, dial up. I haven't wound the watch manually. The only intervention that I did was at the end of September, I advanced the day 1 day forward at the end of the month, but that did not stop the hands from moving. So the time it says right now is reflective of how much it's lost or gained since I set the watch 54 days ago. Let's see if when we put it on the Timegrapher what those numbers look like to see if that corroborates what we're seeing in a practical sense, actually wearing it every day. The first reading on the Timegrapher will be what's called dial-up position. I'll be testing the accuracy in a variety of positions to simulate the different positions your wrist is in throughout the day. For this test, I'm only interested in the rate, the seconds lost or gained over 1 day. The mean average in dial-up position is gaining 12.7 seconds per day. With the winding crown to the right, the watch is running very accurately with an average daily gain of 0.4 of a second. In the dial down position, the watch is gaining an average of 8.1 seconds. In crown left position, we are losing 10.1 seconds. And finally, with the crown pointing up, we see minus 10 seconds. The average of these numbers comes out to a gain of 1.1 seconds per day. So let's think of the Timegrapher data as laboratory statistics. You can put these watches on a Timegrapher and you can get plus or minus how many seconds per day. But really, in the big picture, the proof is in the pudding. If you are just wearing this, then practically, how much time is it keeping or losing, and will you need to set it on a regular basis? After unboxing and winding the watch, I set the time for my phone, which I trust to be accurate. If you ignore the 1 hour daylight saving difference, the Phoibos is running 13 seconds behind, not ahead as our Timegrapher data might suggest. So over 54 days, a 13-second loss averages to just a 1/4 of a second loss per day, which I think is fantastic. Talk about not having to fuss with a watch. Okay, first reset in 54 days. Let's set it back an hour. Unlock the locking crown. We'll go out to the setting position. You know what? Let me get right to the 30-second mark with the second hand. Close enough right there. So since this movement hacks, we want to be at 3:16 and 30 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, click. All right, let's lock our crown. So in the long run, the Timegrapher performance readings really weren't off by that much. The shortcoming with the Timegrapher is that you can't recreate the real-world kinetics that affect watch performance. But if you're repairing watches, it's an invaluable tool to calibrate performance in what I consider a lab setting. Regardless of what the Timegrapher revealed, I've been pleased with the accuracy of my new Phoibos. Here's a few more thoughts on ownership. So far I've been really pleased with the watch. The only comments that I've gotten is pretty, generally from females, and cool from my male friends. Ladies, feel free to say cool. Guys, feel free to say pretty. I don't care. I like the compliments. Most important, I like looking down and seeing it on my wrist. This watch really delivers when it comes to a nice, deep colored dial. In fact, I have to tell you, this is probably one of the nicest purple dial watches that I found on the internet when I was shopping for a watch that had a purple dial. And so far it's holding up great. Even though the back is highly engraved, I find it comfortable. As far as it getting marked up, nothing on the bezel, nothing on the crystal. I've kept the case in pretty good shape. The only area that I've put wear and tear on it is on the back of this clasp. And it's getting scratched up. It's already a brushed finish, but as you can see, it's got its share of little scuffs. You could definitely see some of the marks that I've put on this watch in the 54 days that I've been wearing it. But, you know, since this is a brushed finish, I wonder if I can't just knock out some of those marks with a Scotch-Brite pad. The engraving on the back, the Phoibos octopus, that's a nice deep engraving. So I'd say I have a little bit of surface here. I'm not going to grind it, but I might just brush it up a little bit. But other than that, do I have any complaints about this watch? Only one tactile issue. I feel like this leading edge of the this clasp, it's a little bit, I won't say raw. I wouldn't go so far as to call it sharp in the sense where I'm concerned it might cut me, but I will say that it's just a little bit abrupt when you go into that edge of the clasp. And not so much here. It's probably about the same there, but you don't notice it as much because the bracelet really goes up into that hollow. Okay, I had to turn the camera back on because I remembered one more thing that isn't really a complaint, but it's more just an issue that I thought I'd point out, and that has to do with the loom. The watch has really good thick loom in a lot of places, and I like how it's positioned. And I like how it looks white against the purple when it's not being illuminated. If you recall, this watch has purple loom. So here is a look at the loom. On the camera, it looks a little bit more white, but it actually is a nice purple color. My only criticism is when you charge it up, it just doesn't have the same kind of lasting glow power that, you know, some of the blue and green superluminovas do. But it's just enough that, like, for an hour or two after you go to sleep, you can still kind of discern what time it is, but the loom really doesn't show up that well, at least compared to some other blue and green loom. So there you are. That's a quick update and mini review of my Phoibos Voyager GMT, which I've owned for 54 days, and I'm really enjoying it. My name is Mike. The channel is Watch with Mike. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to our next time together. Okay, I couldn't resist. I want to see if I can do something with the scuff marks that are on this clasp, and also see if I can just chamfer or slightly radius these edges that I think are a little bit on the sharp side. So I have some Scotch-Brite pad, and I have a couple of polishing sticks, 800 and 2000. I think I'll see if I can touch up these edges first, and I'll just give them a little curving, a little easing with the 800 stick. Let's do some smoothing here. Let's do the other side. Got a scratch right there. I'll see if I can wipe them out with the 2000 stick. All right, nice. Came right out. I'm just going to take my 2000 stick and just give it a light buff. I think that leveled the surface. Let's see if we could put some of that brush back on it. And we're going to pull in a straight direction and curve slightly. Yeah, that's much better. I am a fan of the micro adjust. You pull forward and you pull that out. And just like that. Back in business. Now the clasp looks as new as the top. Okay, thanks for watching.